Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Character Creation. Again, we are still within Classic World of Darkness, and today we are starting with Assamite. As you might be able to tell from the decor around the sides of the page, Assamite get their name similar to Assassin. If you don't know about the background, Assassin, or the name Assassin comes from hashish, which is kind of I believe it's a cannabis-like drug that they take. But yeah, so a lot of Assamites are Middle Eastern, like Egyptian and all that. Although that's not completely true, especially anymore, now that the whole world's been combined and stuff. But a lot of like classic Assamites, say if you want to play in the Middle Ages or something, would have been either Middle Eastern or North African. So last time we made a male, so let's make a girl, Sarah. Again, player in Chronicle, this is who you are, this is the campaign you're in. Nature, let's go ahead and make her a child. And a deviant. I'm not going to go too much into the natures and demeanors. I'm mostly filling those for points. Please do remember, I'm not building these characters on a roleplay standard. I'm building them on a by book standard. So these might be a little janky to roleplay, although it will, by rules, it will be possible. They are being built by the book, but I'm not building them for a specific roleplay or role. Concept, let's go ahead and make her a pickpocket. Generation, again, we start at 13. Let's see. Let's say she was sired by a friend of hers or something. And again, title has a lot to do, like, it involves your clan and your storyteller's discretion, so you will normally start as a neonate, but that can change. And if you're a storyteller creating characters, this could be useful for keeping track of who you're doing. Okay, so now, first off, if you notice the difference, I'm using the one-page version, whereas with Malkavians I use the four-page. You can see here that there's the traits, backgrounds are all kind of smushed together a little bit. But, again, attributes are 7, 5, 3. Let's see. She's an Assamite. Assamites are usually considered to be assassins. So I'm going to say she got some bit of strength in her. A little bit of stamina. She's probably not, like, she probably can't take a hit with the best of them, but man, can she fight with the best of them. Social, I'm going to say this is probably going to be her 3. I'm going to say she mostly is manipulating people. She probably, like, she's a deviant, so she's probably not all that charismatic. And she's a pickpocket. So I'm going to put another point in manipulation. She's a pickpocket, so she's probably really good at getting people to not look at her. Maybe she looks like her appearance and charisma are low down, so maybe she looks like she's a homeless girl, like a small homeless girl or something. She walks by, bumps into them, takes their wallets. Now with mental, we have 5 points left. Or we have 5 points to start with. I'm going to put a lot into her perception. And say she has average wit and intelligence, but she's very good at perceiving. She's really good at picking out, okay, that guy looks rich, that woman looks broke, I think that guy just won a jackpot at the casino. So she's pretty good at noticing hints and subtleties like that. Now, if her ability's the same, 5, 9, 13, I'm going to build this time I'm going to build it like I would normally build a character. So, let's see here. She's a pickpocket, so she probably has some acting. Or she probably has some acting. Probably not a lot, though. She's probably streetwise, has some subterfuge. Pretty good at dodging. Probably pretty good at running away. I'd actually go through and say she probably is a little more alert than she is at dodging. Okay, now for abilities. I'm going to say she probably has some melee skill. She probably uses a dagger or something like that. Music or acting. Like, music can be not only for, like, you have acting, and then music would be like singing or playing an instrument. So I'm kind of building her on kind of the idea of a gypsy, I guess. She's probably pretty good with stealth, so I'm going to say those. Now, let's see, knowledge. She probably has a bit of information about the law, some basic medicine. Let's see. Maybe she has some basic finance and bureaucracy. No, I'm going to say she probably doesn't have a lot of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy gets replaced with education, so... Maybe she knows a bit about politics. She's pretty good at greasing palms. She knows how to pay off a cop. And linguistics. Now, we have 5. So we're going to pick which one she should upgrade after this. I'm going to say her social skills, she's pretty good at manipulating people. And her mental skills, she's very perception, but she's not all that smart or witty. So I'm going to go ahead and cut her off at knowledge now. So go ahead and build the other 2 up and give them an additional 4 points. I'm going to say she's probably really good with... I'm going to say she's really good at surviving on her own. She lives on the street. She's really good with stealth. She's really good with security. She's a pickpocket after all. She's pretty good at playing music. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take... Since she plays music, I'm going to take away from acting. For now. And put that... Nah, we're going to stay with acting. Acting can be used for playing the part. So she's playing the part of a musician and stuff like that. Now we're going to put 4 points in here. I'm going to say she's a very alert young lady. Probably has a bit of... She knows a bit of subterfuge and streetwise. She knows a fence or 2. And she got some athletics. Now comes the complicated part. We have both our 5 and our 9. Now we got to build our 13. Again, that's another 4 points. So we could just pick one of these and build up on it, but I'm going to change that up a little bit. Like, this is her basic. So now, I'm going to start throwing in some things that she knows. So I'm going to go ahead and give her talent for the next 2. So, describing this character a little bit, she's pretty good at acting. Like, she's not amazing, but she can convince the average person. Like, yeah, you bump into her, she could drop things. Like, she's good at dropping at Q. So, like, she bumps into a guy and drops her purse, and when he goes down to help her, she picks up his wallet type thing. She's pretty alert. She'll be able to tell if somebody's watching her. She's pretty athletic too. She can run. I mean, like, the cops come at her, she's out of there. She can be outran by a dog or by a guy who's, like, really athletic, but the average person, she's probably just gonna ditch and leave in a corner. She's pretty good at dodging. She's not all that sturdy, so she needs to be able to kind of subvert a punch or 2. She got empathy, so she's able to kind of find a good mark. She's streetwise, so she knows a fence or 2. She could buy drugs. She could probably launder some money if she needed to. And she has some subterfuge, which, without getting into too much, basically comes into the concept of, like, lying. So she's pretty good at lying. She's pretty good at, like, getting information and stuff like that. Okay, now we move over to our skills. We have melee. She's not amazing, but she's probably about average-ish with a knife. She's never been formally taught how to use a knife or a melee weapon, but she does know how. She's held a knife. She's had to stab a couple of people. Probably had to cut somebody a few times. She's pretty good with music. She can play musical instruments. She can play maybe 1 or 2 musical instruments really well, and maybe she has like 3 or 4 musical instruments that she's about average-ish with. Security, she's pretty good at picking locks. Stealth, she's pretty good at hiding, and survival. She can pretty much survive off the bare minimum. She's pretty good at because of the stealth, security, and survival, she could probably steal food from like a local convenience store without getting caught. For knowledges, she has some basic financial knowledge. So the money she pickpockets, she knows how to spend it, she knows how to fence it, launder it, etc. She has some basic knowledge of the law. She knows what's tipping it, like what's the difference between panhandling and street performing. Linguistics, she can probably speak 1 or 2 languages. Normally you get an extra language per dot, but that's up to your storyteller. Medicine, she probably knows how some basic first aid. She's not gonna like stitch a wound closed, but she probably knows enough to keep it clean so it doesn't get infected. And then with politics, she's probably bribed a few cops in her day. Now, we're going to move down to disciplines. Again, 3 disciplines. We have Clarity. Clarity is a very powerful vampire skill. Clarity is mostly used for speed boost. Yeah, generally Clarity is speed. In terms of the system, every point in Clarity will allow you, if you spend blood on it, will allow you to use a free action without needing to split your dice. So, let's say that I wanted to I wanted to move to a guy and then punch him. I'd have to use half my dice to move to him and then half my dice to punch him. Or if I wanted to move to him, then punch him, then kick him, I'd have to split my dice up into a third for each roll. With Clarity, I could move to him, and then I could punch him using the full dice rolls because I'm not splitting my turn, I'm getting supernatural speed. Obfuscate, as we said before with Malkavian, allows you to hide. And then Quietus is the Assamite specific ability. Long story short, Quietus is an assassin's trick. At the first level, or the first couple of levels, you get stuff like, I believe the first level, you can basically make the entire area around you silent. And then the second level, you're able to make poison. So like your sweat becomes poisonous, or your blood becomes poisonous, and you can pretty much like, trying to think of a way how to make this cool. You walk into a room, you see the guy you're supposed to assassinate, you kind of take a toothpick, you stab yourself in the hand. No big deal, that's just a drop or 2 of blood. But now it's really poisonous blood. And then you just walk up and you kind of prick him with it, and he could, if he's human, he's going to drop dead. If he's a vampire, he's going to take some pretty big damage. So, let's see, since she is a vagrant, I'm going to go ahead and say she probably has some Clarity. She's really good at running. And she probably has some Quietus. She probably isn't really all that much for hiding from Obfuscate. She's pretty good at hitting into shadows and corners, but that's more for her surprise attack and less for her run away hide. But she's really fast, which again goes into her. She's athletic. She can run away from most people. Now let's see here. Let's get some backgrounds. For this time, she's not going to be a high generation, so let's go ahead and give her some contacts. She has a fence or 2, someone she can get to. I'm going to say she has a herd. And what would be good? I'm going to say she has some allies. We have 5 backgrounds to spend, so why not? I'm going to give her 2 allies and remove 1 of her contacts. Okay, so with contacts, she has a contact. I'm going to say this is probably her fence, probably her, it's either her fence and or her assassin, marked person. So, yeah, this would be the guy who would tell her, hey, this is time to go kill. Actually, let's go ahead and swap that back. She has a fence and a handler. Now for herd. Herd doesn't, like, 2 herd doesn't mean she has 2. I believe 2 herd means she has 7. But herd are people, normally pets or ghouls, that are sitting around your house that you could basically feed upon for free. Usually they are still human. If they're ghouls, they run slightly different, but mostly it still counts as the same. You need to be careful not to kill them because, well, if you kill your pet, you don't have a pet anymore. And spending points on these are a little bit... Spending points on these 3, in my opinion, are the lesser ones. Another one that would be like contacts, allies, herd, mentors, retainers are all the lesser, because if they die, you lose them and you lose any experience you put into them. Whereas generation is permanent, fame is permanent, influence is permanent, status, resources, like, you can lose them throughout the course of the RP, but they're not gonna, hey, come help me with this fight. Oh, you got shot in the face. Whoops. So, okay, let's move on. Virtues, we have 7 again. Let's see here. She doesn't have much of a conscience, so let's give her some self-control. Some courage. Let's see. Yeah, let's go with that. She got some self-control. She's really good at mingling. She doesn't really have a conscience. She kills someone, she don't give 2 shits. And she's kind of courageous. Okay, so we're going to go down. Humanity is conscience plus self-control. So she actually has a decent humanity because she has some high self-control. And there's her willpower. One moment. Okay, last time we just guessed, and that wasn't exactly true. I'm not on webcam or anything, so you can't see me rolling this dice, but it's one of those things. I feel better about actually rolling a dice than saying, okay, let's just assume I rolled a dice. So, give me a second. Okay, so blood pool is 6. Note that we're rolling a d10, not a d6, so a 6 is about average, not the top. Since we're Generation 13, we only have 10 points of blood that we could get, maximum currently. So, weapons, we can make a weapon later. Other traits, these are things that can come in. You can make new disciplines, you can do a path. So actually, let's change this out a little bit. Let's see, can I find... Asamites have a specific path that they follow. As you can see, some of these, like, you can get swimming, ventriloquism, specialties are... These are considered specialties a lot. Knowledges, etc., etc. I'm going to say we're going to go with a path. So she has a path. She's gone into a path instead of humanity. So what would happen here is conscience and self-control get replaced, and humanity gets replaced with whatever your path is. I'm trying to remember what the Assamite path is. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Path of Blood. See, like, Path of Blood is the Assamite path, so let's go ahead and change this up a bit. So, Path of Blood. This being a path of enlightenment instead of the path of humanity. Let's see here. How exactly do I explain this? Basically, you're not trying to be human anymore. So, committing sins doesn't harm your humanity because you don't actually have humanity anymore. So your conscience gets replaced with conviction. Actually, I should be able to... No, I can't do that on this form. Your conscience gets replaced with conviction. So with humanity, you have consciousness. So actually, I'm going to replace these all real quick. With humanity, you have a conscience. Doing bad deeds is bad. With this, you have conviction. So this is this is how much you dedicate to your path. Then your self-control gets replaced with instinct. This is how much you follow the vampire within. As you can see, I've slightly changed it up. Again, since we're not using conscience, she has a very good conviction, and she doesn't really follow her instincts that well. So, yeah. Now, since we are in the Path of Blood, the same math does add up. So, we do have 6 Path of Blood, and again, we do have 4 willpower. Now, for example, Path of Blood, the ethics of the Path of Blood are you follow the teachings of Hakwim, which is the head Asamite. You do not concern yourself with mortals, for they are not yours to be judged. You lose no opportunity to sate the beast with the vitae of other kindred, so you're hungry, you bite another vampire and drain that fucker. You fight against the rage of the beast, and you never let it have the upper hand. You seek knowledge that may aid the clan in its war on the cursed spawn. So basically, yeah, you're for the clan. You keep trying to make Assamite stronger, and you extend the glory of Hakwim's cause to other kindred. Should they refuse to join the Path of Blood, it is your job to kill them. But you can walk up to anybody and be like, hey, you're kind of like a Jehovah's Witness. Be like, hey, have you heard the glory of Hakim's Path of Blood? Oh, you're not interested? Okay, now I'm going to rip out your heart. Again, we have the freebie points, so let's go ahead and put some of those 15 freebie points in. As you can see here, freebie points, it's 7 freebie points for a discipline, 5 for an attribute, 2 for an ability, and 1 for pretty much everything, for like virtues or backgrounds. So let's go ahead and what would be nice, her? Let's go ahead and give her a little bit of charisma. It'll help with her acting. So we're now down to 10. Let's say she's gotten better with a knife. So that's 4 there, drops us down to 6. Actually, let's go ahead and take away one of those. Let's give her a point in Obfuscate for 7, and now we have one more point we can put in Allies. So now she has 2 allies, and again, just like last time, this isn't the prettiest character, but you can take this character to the bank. It will work in a roleplay. She's physically strong, she's very nimble, she can't really take much of a hit. She's got some charisma, but not a lot. She's really good at manipulating people. She's really good at noticing things, but she's not really, like, she's about average intelligence, average wit. She can act a little bit, she's pretty alert. With a single point in Obfuscate, she can hide from people. So she can kind of hide up in the shadows and become invisible. This could be good for a couple of things, the least of which being, well, hiding in a shadow before a job, or running from somebody. She steps into the shadow and then she just kind of melds with the shadow and just kind of hides. So yeah, this is our Assamite. Have a nice